Hey, Mitch.
Oh, hey, Ed.
Hey, why the long face?
Yeah, I was just hiding out because I was accused of a crime I didn't commit. You know how it goes.
Tough break. Hey, don't worry about that. What we're going to do, I thought we could talk about a classic 80s action TV series.
Oh, cool. Are you going to get on an airplane and come over here to Connecticut?
I ain't getting on no plane, and I pity the fool that tries to put me on one.
Ed, first off, we can't get on any planes right now. Second off, Mr. T never said that on the A Team. That was Rocky 3.
Well, anyway, how about we talk about the A Team instead? How's that for a plan?
Oh, I love it when a plan comes together.
Hi, this is Ed Dollister.
And this is Mitch Halleck.
And welcome to another episode of Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure. Before we begin our exciting action-packed topic today, a big thanks to everyone who has been watching and subscribing. Mitch, if you are watching and you like the show, what's the best way to find out a little bit more about us?
Ed, it's simple as falling off a log. Just hit the subscribe button that's coming up right now, and you'll be notified every time Ed and I do a brand new show right here on Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure.
Absolutely. And we really appreciate all the comments that you've been putting up, and you've been adding some, added information about the show, and also about if you're thinking about, maybe I like what they're talking about today, but I'd really like them to be talking about Buck Rogers in the 25th century, which I'm sure is coming up, and or another topic, please let us know in the comments below about what you'd like to see, and we'll certainly add it to our list that's getting longer and longer of some great topics that we're going to be talking about. But we're going to be talking, Mitch, about a show that blasted onto TV screens in 1982 and has become an iconic cult hit. It's the classic TV series, The A-Team.
That's right, Ed. And from the moment it started, it went off with a bang, just like on the show. But nobody got hurt, just like on the show.
That's right.
It started the night of Super Bowl 17. Yeah, 17 it was, because the Super Bowl here in the States is like the biggest audience you're going to get every year. No matter who's playing, whatever team it is, everybody watches it. It's like a national holiday. So NBC had their executive guy, Brandon Tartikoff, said, we got this brand new show. What better way to launch it than we'll put it on right after the Super Bowl, because you got everybody watching and no one's going to leave their TV set. And sure enough, that thing had like 40 million viewers the first time it aired. And it was like the fourth biggest show that week. And this is something that no one expected, because everyone's like, who's on this show? Mr. T. Who? And George Peppard was really the only name on the whole show.
And I suppose he was a bit also old news by then, George Peppard.
Well, I gotta admit, he was actually, if you look at the show, he's a legit movie star. And
Yes,
this is
he
back
is.
in the day when movie stars did movies, not TV shows. And if they did a TV show, it was kind of looked down upon, like, oh, you can't get any work in Hollywood movies anymore, so you're going to be on TV. It wasn't a brilliant career move. So he was in the later days of his let's just say his stardom, if you will,
And it certainly provided a resurgence to his career. I guess even before that, the show started. It was created by Stephen J. Cannell. I'm sure you know that name if you watch a lot of 70s and 80s TV shows. He created one of my all-time favorite TV shows, The Rockford Files. Later on, he worked on 21 Jump Street. Beretta he created as well.
Oh, everything. When you were a kid, you'd see that logo at the end. It was like an S. It was a bunch of papers that fell, and it made a shape of an S and a C for Stephen J. Cannell. He was this like a wonder kid when it came to TV shows. There was him. You had at the time Aaron Spelling, Glenn Larson, Donald Belisario. Those were the names you saw at the end of every action show growing up in the 70s and the 80s. And the A-Team was another one, and it was a simple premise. Honestly, Rocky 3 had just come out, or was it was just the big hit.
Yeah.
That's where the world was introduced to Mr. T as he played Clubber Lang, and that was like one of the biggest hits of the year. And all they did at NBC is they said, "Look, get this guy on a show."
Yep.
So they built. If you listen to interviews with Mr. T, even though George Papard doesn't want to admit it, he can't now. He's passed on, but he was the star of the show.
Yep.
They said, "Put that guy on TV." So they built a show around him.
And it was essentially like, pitched as a little bit like the Dirty Dozen / Mission Impossible.
Magnificent Seven,
yes.
Seven Samurai. Yeah, those guys that show up to save the village. I mean, it's very formulaic, but it's very simplistic too. Like, you don't have to know the whole history of the show.
No.
You got that great intro that talks about, a former Vietnam Special Forces
in
group.
1972.
And now they're out there hiding in the Los Angeles underground. And if you could find them and you can hire them, you can have the A-Team.
Yeah, with that fantastic theme.
And Mike Post, he's another one too. We're talking classic TV. This guy wrote Hill Street Blues. He did the theme to Tales of the Gold Monkey. All the really cool shows had a Mike Post theme. A-Team, even if you never watched the show, you know that song because they play it a lot. You'll hear like, "Oh, we've got to do something to save the church or the school. Let's get a team together." Dun, 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 dun. I mean, that thing alone was worth watching just because the opening credits were so damn cool.
Oh, that's right. And they prided themselves on their stunt work and, the amount of explosions, car chases, car rollovers, gunfire. The TV show was criticized for its violence. However, as we've stated, no one actually ever got killed. I think only 3 people got killed over the entire, 5-year run of the series.
Yeah. Well, it was I was going to say it was at the time like Miami Vice was about to come on TV as well. There was all this like bloodless violence. You'd have people with shotguns and automatic weapons getting shot point blank. I mean, if it was real, it'd be pretty messy.
Yes.
But nothing happened. It was very cartoony. It was very safe for the kids to watch, which was a good thing and a bad thing. So you could sit down with your family and watch an A-Team episode, and there'd be something for everybody. The little kids would see the action and the comedy. The dads would like it because, like you said, it was Dirty Dozen or Magnificent Seven. The moms would like George Papard and Dirk Benedict, of course, the heartthrob. And so there was something for everybody. And by not having that explicit violence, it kept it very
sanitized,
sanitized. Exactly.
I think after every car crash, they would put a shot afterwards of the people crawling out so you know that they were all okay. But it's got a great ensemble cast. You spoke about Mr. T. Mr. T was originally seen, as you said, on Rocky 3, but he was discovered by Sylvester Stallone when Mr. T was seen on a TV show of the world's greatest bouncer. And that's
right. Yeah.
And that's where he was found. And then consequently, it's about like, who knows? Mitch, someone might be watching this going, I think we need Mitch Hallock for the new a new TV show. It's as simple
They can't afford me, Ed. They can't afford me.
You're a bit you're the George Papard to my Dirk Benedict. So that's
exactly right.
Well, even though I'm dressed a bit like Mr. T,
No, I was going to say, you do have the T gold chains and everything.
I do.
You do know about the symbolic imagery, the symbolism behind his gold chains, right?
No, tell me.
Oh, yeah, because obviously African Americans in the United States, there was the history of slavery. So what T did, and he'll talk about it, is he wore chains of gold to represent, the bondage that his ancestors had to go through when they came to the States. But because it's gold, it shows success and power.
Yes.
So it's like it's a tribute to determination and overcoming great horrors or whatever to, become something. And that's all what T's about. Whether it's Mr. T on the A Team, whether he's in Rocky 3, whether he's on his own TV show, whether he's doing a video
Mhm.
called, his mother. That was a huge hit for him. I don't know if you ever saw it, but go look on YouTube. Mr. T sings Honor Your Mother or something
Yeah.
like that, your mama or something. It was a great thing. He's all about, you know, doing the best you can, being true to
Yes.
yourself. He was a very great role model for a lot of kids. He was
Yes.
positive. He was energetic. He didn't take any gruff from anybody, but he did it. He could beat you up. Like you said, you saw him on the show, The
Oh,
World's
yeah.
Greatest Bouncer. But there was also a very serene, almost Buddha like atmosphere when it comes to T because he would just talk to people and he
Mm.
had that gruff demeanor. He was kind of like Yoda, but he was a big badass yoga. I mean,
Yes.
that's his initials and his characters were BA, which is bad attitude,
Yeah.
BA Baracus. But the guy is great. I mean, even now it's been what 30, almost 40 years since the A Team and Rocky 3 and all that stuff. But when you see or say the words Mr. T to people, their eyes light up because he was so inspirational for such a generation of little kids and adults too. I love
Yep.
the guy. And then he went on to wrestling. I mean, he had so many different careers in the 80s. There was boxes of cereal, there was toys, there was, like I
TV
said,
show. He had
cartoons,
an
comics.
animated TV show,
Yeah, I mean,
which will
how George Papard could think that he wasn't the star is crazy because it was all about Mr. T.
yes, and there was friction as the series went on. There was friction between George Papard, a big movie star. You know, we were saying Breakfast at Tiffany's, also How the West Was Won.
Yeah, yeah,
He was in Damnation Alley as
yeah.
well. You know, a big cult hit, and so he was a big box office star.
Well, he
And
wasn't the first pick.
no, it was James Coburn. I think they were looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
James Coburn from Our Man Flint,
yeah,
in a bunch of movies. He was also in The Great Escape. James Coburn was that man of action too. He would have been pretty good,
yeah.
I think, if they cast him as well. But George Papard had that cool gray hair, fatherly type of image and stuff like that. So
So he
you're
was
very
playing,
respectful.
yeah, he was Hannibal Smith, the leader
Yeah.
of the crew. He was also I think in the first season he was like a jobbing actor. You know, he wore the disguise to
Disguises. Yeah, the man
infiltrate.
of a thousand faces. Yeah,
Now
that was that
we
Mission Impossible element to
yes,
it.
and we will talk about Mission Impossible at some point when he was like Martin Landau's character, who was a master of disguise. However, in Mission Impossible, it was quite serious, and they did the makeup and characterization really well. George Papard look
Yeah.
was horrendous as different characters.
He
He
was,
could
unless he was
fool
playing that big
anybody
Godzilla character, he had some
with
makeup
the
on. That's why I
cigar
was
still. Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, the show wasn't supposed to be taken seriously, so I
No.
don't think Mission Impossible was on a different level than the A Team.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you also had fans of Star Trek: The Next Generation are going to recognize Dwight Schultz
Yes. As
as
he was
Mad Dog
Reggie.
Murdoch.
Reggie,
He
wasn't
was
he?
Reggie Barclay, Lieutenant
Yes.
Barclay. Yeah, yeah, the guy who was afraid of the transporters. And he was also in the Star Trek First Contact movie. He has a cameo in that one as
Yes.
well. And he does a lot of voiceover work too. But Dwight Schultz had a long career. And then I was going to say Dirk Benedict, but that's not true. He's not the original Face Man. If you watch the pilot, that's not the same actor playing
It's
Face.
Tim Dunnigan, who was in another, I would say, cult TV series a little bit later on, Captain Power. He was
Mhm.
Captain Power, which was a really a groundbreaking CG TV show from the late 80s. I think that was
Yeah,
87,
the
maybe.
reason why they got rid of him is because it was supposed to be Vietnam veterans, and they thought he just looked too young. I mean, he was probably old enough
Yeah,
that he could have served in Vietnam, but they would go, "How old is that guy? Like
that's right.
12?" Or
Yeah,
so not to do with his acting ability, it's just his physical appearance.
yeah.
He was too youthful looking, so they got rid of him. And who do they tap on the shoulder but
Starbuck.
Starbuck? That's right. Mr. Dirk Benedict himself shows up
Yeah,
on the show.
and he's
And
playing Templeton Peck, who's the face man or face.
yeah, yeah. I actually think he was a better choice. No offense to the other actor, but
Mm.
Dirk Benedict, even when he was on Battlestar Galactica, he's got a certain charisma to him
Yes.
and I've seen him on a couple conventions over the years, and you talk to him, and he's almost like the guy you see on TV. He's got a
Yes.
a certain attitude about
He
him.
was
So
sort of the not the con man, but or the
yeah.
the ladies man, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was a bit of con man to him as well.
Yes.
They all were kind of a little shady and on the side. But I was going to say there was another part of the cast which is very odd about this show is because they have a fifth member, which is usually a female actress, or what other types are there, but female, and they would get rid of them. Like they'd be on the show for half the season,
Yep.
and then they'd just be gone, and then you get another actress to come on, and then another actress would come on. So originally it was a character named Amy Allen,
Yes.
who's played by, is it Melinda Cully?
Kalia, I
Cully?
think. Yes.
Yeah, Kalia. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And George Papard, she'll say, if you watch interviews with her, and it's well known, he went right up to her and said, "Look, this is nothing against you or your acting ability, but we don't want you on the show." I mean, that's kind of cold, but he
Yeah.
was just telling her like it is. The reason why they brought her on there is because they said, well, you got to have some, feminine character on there because it's all too, muy macho here. You got to lighten it up a little bit, guys. And they didn't want her. I mean, Papard was pretty adamant about like, she's just here because the network says she's got to be here. And I feel bad for that young lady because she was on that show trying to do her job. And when the star of the show is telling you day one,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want you on the show. That's kind of awkward. So it is what it is. But
Yeah.
the rest of the cast enjoyed her. I was going to say they all liked working with her.
She's I suppose the most recognizable to me. I mean, when I think of the A Team, I think of Amy, the character Amy. But they brought in another actress, I think, for season 2.
I was going to say the character's name is Tanya.
Yeah.
Who's named after Stephen Cannell's daughter. It's spelled Tawnia. It's a different spelling, but she was the next character. And ironically, Wayne's World, the actress Tia Carrera.
Yes, she was on it as well.
She was on, and she played the daughter of General Fulbright. He was the guy that was chasing after the A Team from the Vietnam War, trying to convict them and bring them to justice. She was introduced as his I guess he had a child over in Vietnam. I can't remember the specifics of it, but she was supposed to join the team, and that was supposed to be the connection between the Vietnam War and them. But they got rid of her, Tia Carrera. I don't know if she went to go work on another show. I can't remember what it was, but they got rid of her. And then for the 5th season, they brought another actor in. I can't think, what was his name? Dishpan? Yeah, Frankie Santana. And he played Dishpan Man. That was the actor that they brought on.
And who remembers him? That was sort of the 5th and final season.
That was the 5th Beatle guy. Yeah, I was like, wait, there's another guy here. Yeah. And that's the last season, though. But I don't know. What are your memories? What did you see? What was the first time you saw the show?
It would have been probably, I'm trying to think, in Australia, I reckon it was probably about 1983. So it might have come out, about 6 months later here in Australia. And I do remember watching it. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't, I don't know what it was. And especially since we've been watching a lot of, we're going through Starsky and Hutch at the moment, season halfway through that, where the stories are really, different. The characterizations are really nuanced and multi-layered. And you even like in Rockford Files and things like that.
That ain't the A Team.
The A Team, you see one episode, you've seen all the episodes.
It's a shame though, because I mean there was such a good chemistry with the actors on the show and the action, and it was all well written, like I said. But you hit the nail on the head. The reason why the A Team ultimately is its own self-destruction is they never varied the storyline. They kept it pretty basic, and like you said, you've seen them one, you've seen them all.
Yep.
Okay?
They need to help someone. They do that. They get in some trouble. They'd still have like the military after them. Then they have to save like a town or save them. So what they would do, they pre-MacGyver, they would build something out of, like a bomb out of something, or a machine gun out of a clothesline.
Mr. T would start screaming, I need a fertilizer, and I need an oxygen tent, and some chewing gum and a paper clip.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're putting together like a bazooka.
I know.
They blast their way out of wherever they're being held up, and they save the day, they save the kids, and Yada yada yada
And
yada
that's
yada.
it each episode. They did the A Team was famous for a few things.
Mm,
Its formula, its wonderful main theme, and its
mhm.
catchphrases as well. So that's the thing that really, we spoke about in the earlier one. I love it when a plan comes together. Hannibal Smith, I ain't
Hannibal's
getting
got
on
the
no
jazz.
plane.
Hannibal's on the jazz, which was always
Oh
ooh,
yes.
it was like, what did he say? You know? Yeah, but T had all the good lines, man.
Yes.
Oh, I ain't getting on no plane because he was afraid of flying. This big, muscular,
Yes.
tough guy. He was terrified to get on a plane. So every week, another trope of the A Team, they'd have to drug Mr. T. That poor guy, he must have suffered so much brain damage from all the amount of roofies they were giving him. Because every week it's like, hey, eat this sandwich. I ain't eating that sandwich. You put something in it. No, here, well, here, have mine. Okay.
Well, yep.
He'd be out like a kite.
That's right.
Boom.
And he keeps
Done.
going, I pity the fool who will whatever. But, fool me once, fool me every episode. It would happen every episode. And of course, Mad Dog Murdoch, who was this
I was just
amazing,
gonna say
he had his own shtick. He was,
he was in a
institutionalized.
veterans, veterans
He had
VA
PTSD, I
rental ward.
believe,
Yeah,
his
yeah.
character. But he was like a genius level when he was, coherent and
Well, the
lucid.
thing is,
And
he played it so over the top. I mean, they let him go. They're like, "Hey, you're supposed to be like crazy,
yeah,
and go for it." And he did go for it, and that used to annoy me. No offense to Dwight Schultz, but the characterization, I used to go, "Come on, man, can you bring it down a little bit?" But I guess the little kids loved it.
yeah,
You know,
it's a cartoon brought to life, really. The
it is
characters
very
are
much a
all
cartoon. Yeah.
larger than life. Unfortunately, the ratings started to slide. They
Mm.
decided to mix it up a little bit in season 5, the final, which was then the final season. I think they moved nights as well.
Yeah, they did that. Yeah, it
They
used to be a
redid
season
the
one,
theme. It
yeah,
was still the original theme, but it was reworked and it sounded awful.
I know,
Um,
right? Right?
Basically, they were exonerated for their crime. Basically, they
Yeah,
ended up
yeah,
working
yeah,
for the
that's right.
government, and that sort of killed the whole
Well,
thing. I
yeah,
felt.
because the first couple episodes, you had this guy named Colonel Lynch who was like looking for him, and it was played by this character actor who was on all the shows back in the day. I can't think of his name, Luck and Bill or something like that. Luck Bill, William Luck Bill. He has this mustache and like a Texas sound. He was on the Gold Monkey. He was on Magnum PI. You see this guy, he was a staple of the 70s and 80s. They get rid of his character. They bring in another character, General Fulbright, and
Was
then they
that
kill
Charles
him off.
Napier? Which one was Charles Napier?
No, no, Charles Napier's not on the show. Charles Napier was in Rambo.
No,
You're
I'm
thinking of
sure Charles Napier was in.
oh, you mean the character actor I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
Oh, no.
No, I'll have to have a. I'll put it down below. I'll see. I'll see if he
All
was.
right.
I'm sure he was. I've been seeing a lot of Charles Napier. Maybe I'm just assuming he's on because he's on everything.
He
So
is on everything, but no, not this time. They didn't do it without him. But like you said, they bring in Robert Vaughn. Now, Robert
yes,
Vaughn, and you're going to go crazy when I always say this, before he passed away, lived right over here in Connecticut because I saw him years ago. I was going to work and there was a production studio next to our office building. So I pull in with my car in the morning, and there in the parking lot is Robert Vaughn walking around with a shirt and tie. And you know how they do your makeup? They put like tissue
yes,
around the collar so it doesn't
yeah.
smear on the shirt. So I pull in and I go, "Hey," and he's like, "Hello." And he just walked by and I go, "Was that the man from Uncle out in the parking lot?" And they had a tent and they were filming a movie, I guess, and they had like
Yeah,
a catering tent out there, but it was very awkward.
that's
But they
cool.
bring
I
in
like Robert Vaughn.
Robert Vaughn. We talk about Superman 3, but he was a staple on TV as the man from Uncle, Napoleon Solo. He comes on, and like you said, he cuts a deal with the A Team. He's like, "Look, I'll exonerate you. We'll give you back your rank and all that stuff. You don't have to go on the lam anymore, but
You have to do these
you have to
suicide
work.
missions. Yeah,
You have to do these suicide missions for us." So it was a good idea, but it might have been a little too late at that point to save the show because, like you said, the ratings had already slipped. They went from the top 10 to like 18, and they started dropping more and more because their audience had grown up.
Hmm.
I mean, 4 or 5 years, if you were 10 years old when you watched it, now you're 14, you're not watching the A Team
Yeah.
anymore, do the same stuff every week. And it just spiraled out of control. They didn't even finish the last season with a full order. They only did
Hmm.
15 episodes. of it. They didn't even get a full 20-something episode season like most TV shows. So they
But
knew it was over.
yeah, but during those early days, you know, it was a huge ratings hit.
Oh yeah.
People loved the A Team. They loved Mr. T. They also loved the car. It's not even a car, the van. The
The
A
van.
Team van was really the fifth member of the team. I think it was a iconic van, that
Mhm.
amazing black and red stripe on there, and it was a great toy. There it is
That
there.
one right there. Yeah.
And you know,
Yeah.
when a TV show's a hit, they make toys. And Galoob made the toys for the A Team, and they were not a hit at all. In fact, you can get them
No.
pretty readily, still on card on eBay for not too expensive. They an expensive price. They did the GI. They went the GI Joe route and made a 4-pack of A Team action figures. However, they weren't in their regular clothes. They had like jumpsuits, colored jumpsuits. I
Yeah.
did have some of those, and they've been lost
Well,
through
see, it's weird
time.
because there was also a line of Mr. T toys as well. He had
Well,
his own.
that came later. So what they then did after that, they brought out these, which were the 6-inch figures. Here's my only one I've got. That is supposed to be, I'll see if there we go. That is Mad Dog Murdoch. The good thing they did for the 3 3/4 figures is they brought out the A Team van. You could lift it out, lift off the roof, and there was some great play sets. They made a giant play set as well, like the A Team headquarters. And then those figures didn't work either. So then what they did was they released figure about the star of the A Team, which is really Mr. T. And it was not a B.A. Baracus figure, it was a Mr. T doll. And it was a large 12-inch figure with real chains, denim overalls and everything like that. I got rid of mine, sadly. I sold it at a market a few years ago. But they're still quite popular. Didn't come with any accessories, but that was just a standalone. After that, and during the run as well, they also did a TV series, Mr. T,
Yes.
which was again not related to the A Team, but Mr. T was a like a gym owner, and he and his you know, the kids that worked at the gym or went to the gym would solve crimes. It was a little bit like, you know, Scooby-Doo as well.
Yeah.
But there was lots of things. You were saying that they have some comics that they brought
I was
out.
gonna say everybody worth their salt, not the salt on a pretzel that might kill you. Everybody had their own comic book, and the
Yeah.
A Team was no exception. There's the A Team comic book right there, and they're behind me. But Marvel Comics put it out. They did everybody. They did Alf. They did, you know, Donnie Marie, the Brady Bunch, whoever. But the thing of it is, it didn't last that long. It was only a 3-issue book. And I don't think it sold that well because this copy I have right here, I said, oh, let me go find one.
Yeah.
Like $2. I mean, the thing cost 60 cents originally 35 years ago. So it has not increased
Yes.
too much in value, unfortunately. But hey, it is
Well,
what it is.
but if you're an A Team collector, you know, or fan, that's good for you. That there's stuff.
If you
that is
want
pretty
one,
easy.
I know where you can find one right here.
Well, I
Right
just
here.
got they did release a number of novels as well. So there's that's the first one, the A Team
Oh,
novel, which is based on the pilot, which is pretty good. They also, I just got this yesterday from eBay, which is the A Team story.
Oh,
And that's actually quite. So it's got not only has it got the a story in there, it's got some really good you know, pics of the
some headshots and
Yeah.
publicity photos. Well,
That
it's
was-
funny you have that
that would have
because
been before. Well, they were.
before the feud. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
right.
it was so bad on there. You'll see. There's a documentary on YouTube called "Let's Bring Back the A Team," and it was done
Yes.
by this British fella. I think in 2004 maybe, and he went and got all the surviving actors and talked about if they can come together for a reunion party. And he has that program that you have there, that
Yes.
yearbook thing, and he gets it signed by everybody. And in that show, Dirk Benedict talks about how bad the relationship got between Papard and Mr. T, so much so that they were standing next to each other on the set, and George Papard would not directly speak to Mr. T. He would go to like Dirk Benedict or Dwight. He'd go, could you tell T in that scene if he could pick up his dialogue and a little bit faster? And he's right there. And they're like, well, why don't you tell? He goes, no. Could you tell T that? And they'd go over and Mr. T would be laughing his head off. He's like, yeah, okay. And then they go, George T said it's okay. He'll do it. I mean, he wouldn't even talk to the guy. And
No.
then they had a reunion because the show was huge overseas. Believe it or
Mhm.
not. I mean, it was big in America, but they went to like Norway and they had the cast. And Papard was going to go to it, but he found out that they were bringing everybody else. It wasn't just him. And he was so mad about it. He did not go.
Yeah.
So Dwight Schultz and Dirk Benedict go there. The mobs are so bad. They have to get security. The police are brought out because people are going crazy to see the A Team. This is how popular the show was overseas in Europe
Yeah.
and such. In Australia too. They even
Yeah,
went down.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it was aired prime time here in Australia, and we got all the toys and all the posters and everything like that. But sadly, it only ran for 5 years.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty good run.
Oh, you know what though? I mean, if you ever noticed all the guest stars, it's like the Batman of the 80s because all these famous people, you had a lot of iconic 80s people. You had Hulk Hogan, who
Yes,
Mr. T was doing a lot of wrestling with. A lot of wrestlers were on the A Team. You had Boy George
I
showed up on
know.
an episode.
I
Did you?
I
I was gonna
watched
say,
I watched that episode. You would not expect of all the
yeah,
guest stars, Boy George and Culture Club.
yeah. David McCullum was on that show because you had Robert Vaughn and David
Yes,
McCullum. People don't know that's his co-star from A
that's
Man
he's
from
Ilya
Uncle.
Kuryakin.
He was Ilya Kuryakin, but he appears on the show as well, which is just kind of cool. Like if
Yeah,
you're in the know, you
yeah,
go, "Oh, look, they're the Man from Uncle. They're together again."
yeah.
But no, it was like a bunch of people.
Brian
Um,
James, I saw in one
oh,
episode.
from Blade Runner,
Yep,
Leah. Oh,
yep,
really? Yeah, I didn't
yep.
catch him. There's a lot. There's Isaac Hayes. There's a couple other. I think Rick James was a singer. He was on that show
Yes,
as well. I mean, like I said, Mr. T's popularity was such a big deal. Everybody went on there. Nancy Reagan enlists Mr. T to help her war against drugs, just say no type of thing at the White House. And there's Mr. T dressed up like Santa Claus, and Mrs. Reagan is sitting on his lap, and he's like, "Hey, listen, don't be a fool, don't do drugs," that type of thing.
yes.
I mean, it was such a big, but like I said, everything that goes up comes down, and the A Team crashed and burned and disappeared after 5 years. But they did a poll. I think it was TV Land or one of these Entertainment Tonight or one of these things. They said, "What show would you like to see brought back?" And I think
Yep.
the A Team was like number one when it came to revivals because Dukes of Hazard was also on the list, and I think another big show that was well, they brought back Magnum. I was going to say Magnum PI, but I think
Yep.
the A Team was like the number one most requested show. And I know here doing conventions, there's this guy named McDaniel McLeod. He is the best Mr. T impersonator you will ever see. He comes to my shows. I had him out here one day, comic convention. He shows up dressed in the full Mr. T outfit, more chains than you, I'm afraid, Ed.
Oh,
I mean,
that's okay.
got the real deal. And he comes with these giant homemade bazookas and rockets, these crazy rockets that are like 10 feet tall. And he is just so in character as Mr. T.
Yeah.
He does the voice, he does all the mannerisms, he does all the catchphrases. It's like everyone goes, "Oh my God, is that Mr. T?" And we'd be like, "Well, do you really think Mr. T would be that young looking? Because that was, you know, 1983, 86 and all
Yeah.
that. And this guy's pretty young." But people think it's him. And I have pictures. I sent you a couple too.
Yeah.
He's my favorite of because of the energy. And like I said, there's the people just love him when they see him. They go, "Oh my God." If it's Christopher Reeve himself showed up at
Yeah.
your show, like a guy who looked just like Christopher
Yeah.
Reeve, people instantaneously go back to the child and go, "Oh my God, look, it's Mr. T." He's like, "Hey, what's going on, man? What are you doing there?" Oh, and he does the voice. And I mean, the guy is fantastic. And the funny thing is, when he's not in character, obviously he doesn't. "Hey, how you doing, fool?"
Yeah.
He doesn't. Just a normal,
Yeah.
soft-spoken man. And it's like, whoa, where'd that come from? Because he's like, "Oh, thank you very much. It was great being here. I really like coming to the show." You're like, how do you go from being B.A. Baracus to Mr. Rogers like that?
Yes.
But he does. He's a great guy. Uh, I don't see a lot of Mr. T impersonators. You think there would be a lot more, but
Yeah.
he's I think this guy's got the market cornered over here,
Well, that's right. Well, I suppose you need, you need to have that larger than life persona. And I suppose the TV series has lived on because of his persona. And I suppose that nostalgic love of it. But if you go back and watch it, again, some things age Well, some things not so well. I would say maybe the A Team,
Well,
it's
wait,
still
we
fun.
forgot to, I was gonna say we forgot to mention they did try to bring it back.
Well, they brought it, yeah, well, they did in 2010. Joe Carnahan directed a big blockbuster movie version starring Liam Neeson, Bradley Cooper,
I can,
Sharpay
how do you say his
Copley,
name?
yes, and
Copley?
yeah,
No, how
and
do you say his name?
Sharpay Copley, is it?
Yeah, he's the South African actor,
Yep.
right?
And I
Okay.
can't think who played B.A. Baracus.
Oh, for goodness sakes, my son has the movie poster upstairs. Shame on us for doing that.
Well, but
Well,
anyway,
it
it
wasn't Mr. T. I'll tell you
no,
that. They
he
try to
didn't
get
even.
T.
They did cameos, and
Yeah,
Dwight Schultz appeared, and Dirk Benedict appeared, but Mr. T refused to appear in it
right. And of
because
course, by that time, George Papard was no longer with us
that's
because
right.
unfortunately, Mr. Papard had a bad habit of smoking.
Mhm.
And I think he died of emphysema or lung cancer. It might have been lung cancer.
He
And
was pretty
not
young,
too,
65. He was only
yeah, not too
65.
long after the A Team ended. In fact, he was going to have his own new TV show, a detective series. I think it was a spin-off of like Murder She Wrote. It was all set
Mhm.
to be, production was about to begin and all that, but complications from
Yeah,
lung cancer, I believe. Yeah, he died very young, but
he
it
did.
was kind of a shock too because I remember like, oh my God, George Papard died because he was one of those staples on TV and
Yeah,
movies. You always saw him around,
yeah.
But it was too bad. So obviously he didn't come back for the film, and
And
also
I, yep,
Patrick Wilson's in that movie
yes,
too.
he is.
My buddy Patrick Wilson, who I talked to and didn't know who he was. He's like, "Don't you know who I am?" I'm like, "No." And he starts giving me all his credits. I go, "Oh yeah, yeah, you're that guy."
He's Aquaman's brother.
He's Aquaman's brother. He was in the Watchmen movie. He played the Night Owl.
Yeah,
He's in
he's been in a lot of
Morning
things.
Glory. He's in a lot of things, but he was sitting across from me um, at New York Comic Con. I was doing a press roundtable, and he was just by himself. And I'm like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" And I'm over there charging my phone, and I'm just talking to him. I go, "You look familiar. Do you go to my comic book store?" And he's like, no, I'm in movies." I go, "What movies?" And he starts listing all of them, and I go, "Oh, you're the guy in the A Team. Yeah, my son loves that picture." He's like, "Oh yeah, thanks," and whatever.
Oh well,
Mitchell.
I really loved the A Team as well. The movie, I thought it sort of captured the spirit of the original series. It was
He
pretty over
did.
the top, and
Oh
the
yeah.
action was great. That ending with all the shipping containers
Oh yeah,
was
yeah.
over the top, and it was great fun.
Well,
And
there was that also the scene in the beginning with Bradley Cooper's character's faces. He's rolling down with tires on him.
yes,
He was like a
that's right.
shotgun wedding. Yeah, that was a great scene. And then Hannibal meets Mr. T's or B.A. Baracus' character. He's running from somebody. He's like, "Hey," and he rolls up his sleeve and he sees that he's got an Air Force Rangers tattoo on him. He's
Yep.
like, "Oh, I'm a Ranger too." I thought it was well done, but the thing of it is, they tell you it did not make a lot of money. They said, "We'll definitely go and do an 18-2." And I think, the reaction was mixed with the critics, but the fans liked it. I know my kids loved it. They saw it twice.
Yep.
But they said even with the video and DVD and all that stuff, it still didn't generate enough money. And the director said like a year or two later, he's like, "That's the end of it. That's that. That's how Hollywood works. No money, no
Yep.
sequel."
It did it made
It
a
made like
profit.
180 million, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
And I thought the casting was really quite good.
I
While
thought Liam
paying
Neeson was
homage to the originals, though Liam Neeson with that grey hair, it looked a bit funny. His hair, it needed to be a bit full. It needed to have the Mitch Halleck treatment. I felt the hair in it. He looked a little, I don't know. It looked a bit like a wig.
yeah.
Maybe it
This
wasn't a
is
wig.
100% genuine Mitch
Yeah,
right back
yeah.
there.
It's not yak hair.
And now it's not yak hair, which is weird. It's darker in the back
Yeah,
and in the front. All party in the what is it?
that's right.
Party in the back.
Lights
Business
out
in
in the back. I don't know. Business. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
anyway, but no, yeah, the movie didn't do well. They also made a line of comic books that tied in. They were prequel adventures of the
Hmm.
18 for the movie, and I had some of those, and I'll show you some of the covers as well.
Yeah.
Again, Lego. We almost forgot a couple years ago. Lego had their own like little interactive toy thing when that was all the rage. You plugged it into your video game and you had like a
Yes.
little plastic figure.
Yes.
They had
Lego Dimensions. I think it was.
Lego Dimensions. Yeah, they made the A-Team van and it came with a little Lego B.A. Baracus. So
Yeah.
even got Lego figure, a minifig.
Well, of course, you could get Ertl, the little car maker, brought out little versions of the van, and you can buy
I
today.
think Hot Wheels made one too. I think
Yeah,
too.
and you can also get today. I'm trying to think of the brand that brings out those, sort of movie car models. At the 1/18th scale and 1/24
Oh,
scale.
is it not Hot Toys or
No,
MediaCom?
no, it's they.
Mecca?
No. This is like a car. They make model car
Oh,
die-cast
like,
metal cars, and they've
oh,
got a 18 van. In fact,
I was gonna
I
say, is
took a
that DeSantis?
I saw
DeSantis?
one. No, but I saw one yesterday actually when I was looking for a
Really?
Starsky and Hutch van, and I saw one yesterday. But it was
In a
interesting.
car.
Yeah, the model car, but it was not all black and red. It was white, red, and black, and I'd never seen that version before.
No.
I
The
will put a
18
picture
van,
up of it now because I took a photo
Okay.
just for this show. So
maybe that's the B team because the A team. No, it's black with a
I
red
know,
stripe.
I know, I know. I will show you.
That's the A team van right there, man.
But
At
that's
the end of the day, though, it was a good show.
it was,
a-
and it's available on streaming. You can get all seasons are available on DVD.
They had a box set that came out in 2010. I don't
Yep.
know. You probably check eBay.
Yep.
Maybe even Amazon might still
Yeah.
have it. I like box sets because look, I got to tell you this now. Besides the A team and all that, I still buy physical media
Yep,
when
me
it comes
too.
to movies that I like because I don't trust these online services because tomorrow they could lose the license at Netflix for Indiana Jones, and if
Yep.
that's the only way you can see it, you're SOL, buddy.
That's
So you
that's
gotta
why
go
we've got the box set of Starsky and Hutch, box set of Mission Impossible. We got Wonder Woman,
Land
all
of the
those.
Lost.
Yeah, all those because you never know, and the quality is pretty good. Once you can upscale, it's actually quite good quality. So you're in for a treat if you haven't seen the A Team. It's a bit of fun. At least watch a couple of episodes of the first season. At the very least, go on YouTube and watch the opening theme because that.
Oh
will
yeah, that's
stir
it. Like
you
I said,
up.
that alone is worth just sitting watching it again and again and again. They even did a Mandalorian takeoff.
Have
of the
they?
eight- Oh my god, it's hysterical because they have all the characters, Baby Yoda, Dune, the
Cara
Junior-
Dune, yes.
yeah, and Apollo Creed's guy, Craig. What's his
Grief.
Reagan? Grief. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They all come on just like the A team and they time it and they edit it just perfectly so it looks like the old TV show opening for it. Carl Weathers, that's who I was thinking
Yeah.
of. Couldn't do it. So go check that out too while you're having. Check a
Yeah.
lot of stuff out. But also, Ed, check out our show. Go
Sure.
and watch us. We've got like 30 shows now
Yeah.
of everything all the way from Land of the Lost to Superman to
Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica, Empire Strikes Back, and
Yes.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. If
Yeah,
you
of
like
course,
all
40th anniversary. In fact, I'm seeing, as of this recording tonight at 6:30, Raiders of the Lost Ark on the big screen tonight at the cinema. I can't wait. Oh,
There
hang
you
on.
go.
My straps come off. I got too excited. So
It's not that kind of show, Ed.
it's not. It's not. It's family friendly. Again, thank you so much for watching and subscribing. Remember, just hit below and hit that bell to get your notifications. And of course, if you've got a comment and have a memory about the A Team, put it below. What was your favorite moment? Did you have a favorite episode? Did you feel like it did lose its steam after a while? And that's it. That's it.
And that's it.
for-
And the kids, if Mr. T was here, he'd say, "Don't smoke. You'll be a joke. Use a pretzel stick. Don't be a."
Thank you. Yeah, I got what you're doing there. This
No,
is
you could just end it like you.
I
like you
could.
did
I
with-
could have. Anyway, this is Ed Dollister,
And this is Mitch Halleck saying, "I love it when a TV show comes together."
and we'll see you next episode. Thanks for watching.